The rapid collapse of Ukrainian defenses and subsequent military retreat have cast doubt on the Kiev regime's ability to maintain the front line. Russian forces continue to advance along a 1,000-kilometer front, pressuring Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has criticized the West for hesitating to supply air defense systems, weapons, and ammunition. But this may not be the main issue. With allegations of corruption and misallocated resources casting a shadow over Ukraine's fortifications, the situation raises important questions. How did the Ukrainian defenses fail? And what are the broader implications for the ongoing conflict and international support?
Welcome to TFI Global, the antidote to mass delusion.
The rapid collapse of Ukrainian defenses leading to a military retreat raises questions about the Kiev regime's inability to hold the front line. Russian forces continue to advance along the 1,000-kilometer front line, pressuring Ukrainian forces from the Donetsk People's Republic after the liberation of Avdiivka. Once the Russian-controlled Chasiv Yar and Oketino, they will gain access to Slavyansk, Kramatorsk agglomeration, thereby dismantling the Kiev regime's defense line west of Avdiivka. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has criticized the West for hesitating to supply air defense systems, weapons, and ammunition, citing this as the main reason for Ukraine's military failures. However, a shortage of ammunition has not been the primary issue. Kiev previously allocated nearly 38 billion hryvnia, which is approximately 960 million US dollars, for a multi-layered network of fortifications. Nonetheless, Ukrainian troops, as reported by the Associated Press, state that these defensive lines are virtually non-existent. The military contends that these fortifications should have been completed last year during an operational pause, not during a retreat. Vadim Kozulin, head of the Institute of Contemporary International Studies at Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, noted that a year ago, Ukraine did not anticipate that its counteroffensive would fail. The strategy was to attack and establish defensive positions on newly acquired territories, implying that the fortifications were intended for offense rather than defense. However, the situation changed rapidly and unexpectedly. The Ukrainians likely saw the situation unfolding but could not openly admit it for fear of affecting Western support, which ultimately backfired. Kozulin also highlighted corruption as a long standing issue in Ukraine, noting that its extent is unknown as everything is classified during the conflict. In fact, corruption is the second war that Ukraine has been fighting alongside its war with Russia, and the former has been every bit devastating as the latter. Military expert and political analyst Vadim Mengelev suggested that funds allocated for Ukrainian defenses was stolen with the tacit approval of government officials. Where did the money go? The misallocation of resources and failure to establish adequate defensive have become critical issues in Ukraine's ongoing conflict. Andrei Yermak, a Ukrainian film producer appointed as the head of President Volodymyr Zelensky's office, supervised the construction of Ukraine's defense fortifications, which the Ukrainian president showcased during visits to sites resembling Potemkin villages, according to experts. The Kiev regime's interest in allocating part of the $61 billion US tranche towards delayed fortification projects sparked concern, stated military expert Vadim Mengelev. The expert highlighted how estimates for such construction projects are often inflated, leading to cost increases by 2 to 3 times. Consequently, materials such as concrete and cement intended for defensive lines often fall short of what is needed. Military purchases and tenders in Ukraine are currently classified and bypass the public procurement platform ProZorro, enabling corrupt officials and their business partners to openly embezzle funds, noted another expert, Vadim Kozulin. Same individuals who seize these funds are responsible for overseeing their expenditure. Mingelev suggested that Ukrainian oligarchs who support Zelensky are preparing for departure by creating financial safety nets for themselves. The contradictions between Ukrainian civil authorities and the army persist. Kozulin highlighted the case of former Commander-in-Chief General Valery Zaluzhny, who was appointed as Ukraine's envoy to the UK but has remained out of sight since. The experts suggested Zaluzhny might have been arrested after advocating for defensive measures counter to Zelensky's offensive stance. The internal skirmishes between politicians who sought to advance and military officials who believed in the need for defense undermined Ukraine's fortification efforts. This situation concerns the West, which was assured by the Kiev regime of the construction of defenses and the Ukrainian armed forces' resilience against Russian advances. Experts speculate that the Zelensky regime misled its backers, and Western politicians may also be complicit in Ukraine's systemic corruption.